Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This is part 2 of the Knight of Gold AT build painting. If you saw my last video, you'll remember that I sanded and prepped everything. Then did a test fit with tape and some blue tack. So the first step will be to take everything apart and separate the parts into bags based on the color. There are really only two main colors, the bronze for the frame and the gold for the armor. So I'll only need 2 bags. As you can see, I've already started, so hope you enjoy. Here's a look at the manual at the paints I'm going to be using. You can pause if you want to check them out. As I mentioned, there are mainly just 2 colors, the bronze for the frame and the gold for the armor. These parts all have frame color accents, so I'm going to be priming and masking these first. But before I do that, I have to mount everything on sticks. Since I'm using metallic paints, I'm using Mr. Surfacer Black as my primer. And now I'm painting the bronze mix for the frame, including all the parts that I masked earlier, or that will need to be masked. So this is watercolor art masking fluid I'm going to be using to mask off the parts that I mentioned earlier. I prefer this over hobby branded stuff like Mr. Masking Skull Neo, for example, which I still use for certain things, but this is thinner and easier to control when you apply it. It's also easier to remove, which I'll show you later. Now that everything's masked, I'm ready to paint the gold, but first I have to prime all of the parts. For the drawn swords, there's nothing to grip to mount it to the sticks, so I have to paint them in 2 sections. To protect the parts from getting dents from the alligator clips, I'm going to wrap a little bit of tape around it where it clips. Once one side is primed and painted, I'll do the same for the blade. For the scabbard, I stuck a little piece of wire in the open end so that I can grip it with the clips. Now that everything's painted, I'm going to look and feel for imperfections and try to buff out any problem areas and repaint if necessary. I'm rubbing the parts with my fingers sometimes because it's easier to feel rough spots than to see them when it comes to metallic paints. Now that everything's painted, I'm going to remove the masking fluid. It's just a thin latex, so it comes off pretty easily on the gloss surface. Just get it started with a toothpick and then peel it off with tweezers, and repeat for all the rest. For the eyes, I'm using Gaia Fluorescent Red. I'd already painted the eye parts white so that the fluorescent color will pop. For the shoulder detail, I'm using Vallejo white to fill in the white borders. I've already masked and painted the larger red parts with Mr. Color Red, and I'll be using the decal for the smaller red part, which has a perfect color match. Because these are gloss paints, I'm able to easily wipe off excess of the Vallejo acrylic with my finger or paper towel while the paint's still wet, so I can get a clean edge. Since I'm painting white already, I'm going to paint the detail on the head. The detail is raised and well defined, so easy to hand paint. For the red, I'm using Vallejo Red or Tartar Medium and hand painting that as well. Next is work on the frame. For painting, I took apart the hip joints to keep the rubber rings clean. So now I need to screw all that back together. Now I'm ready to do the panel line wash. For the frame, I'm using Tamiya's black wash. For the gold, I'm going to use dark brown wash because it's a lighter color. When I remove the excess fluid, I like to use a piece of cloth cut from a t-shirt instead of a cotton swab when possible. I feel like it works faster and it also doesn't leave any little cotton lint pieces like a cotton bud does. But sometimes you still need to use cotton buds for detailed parts. This is Gaia Semi-Gloss Clear Coat. I decided to use semi-gloss for the frame and gloss for the armor, just to give it a bit of a different look. Now that the gloss coat is dry, I'm going to polish some of the armor with this Ultimate Compound. Mine has a crack in the side of the bottle, so I can just apply it from the side, which is kind of weird, but it actually works better from the side than the top. Tamiya and Mr. Hobby both make compounds meant for modeling, which is basically the same thing. I just already had this for my car. Now all the paint work is done. The only thing left is to glue everything together. I broke the peg off this eyepiece, so I'm going to have to use the thicker Tamiya glue to get it to stay. The thin doesn't seem to work. And here it is, the finished model in all its glory. I had a lot of fun with this one. I'd already done the original Knight of Gold, so this one was a little bit easier since I already kind of knew what to expect. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this, and if so, please remember to like and subscribe for future build videos. If you'd like to see some still photos of this and my other builds, I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks again to Volks for this beautiful model. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.